Hey everyone, it's time again for Indian Story Read Along. So if you've been following this channel, you'll know we have been talking so far about the 12 Jyotirlingas and we made 8 videos on all those stories. They're pretty serious, so I thought let's do something fun today. This is from one of my old Tinkle comic books. I will show you at the end just how old this book is. You can see some of the pages, it's a little bit yellow there. It's not nice and brand new like you would buy from the bookstore today. So here we go. This is called The Challenge, an Indian folktale. Script by Adil Rangunwala and illustrations by Ajit Vasaikar. One day in the kingdom of Tilpur. There's the king. He is talking to the prince. Son, it's time you got married. The prince says, why do you say that? Uh-oh. We all know what this conversation is like. And then the king says, because you are not growing any younger. And the prince says, does that mean I will stop growing older if I get married? And then the king says, no, but you will certainly grow wiser. You've seen dozens of princesses, and yet you haven't made up your mind. But I don't want to get married. Not one more word from you. I don't want to marry. We've all been in this conversation. Then the king says, that does it. I'm going to arrange your marriage with the first girl we see. And then the son says, you can't be serious. King says, I am. Now here we see there's the gardener. And he's thinking, oh, the first girl they see. Is that so? I better hurry home. What's the gardener thinking? Soon. It looks as though he's grabbing his daughter and he goes, soon. Where are you taking me, father? Says the daughter. You'll see. And then it's the first girl that they see. So then the king says, there, that's the girl you're going to marry. And the prince says, but she's the gardener's daughter. The king says, I never go back on my word. You're going to marry her and no one else. Now the prince is now going to be a little bit mean. He says, how can I marry this stupid girl? I? Stupid? Says the gardener's daughter. Your Highness, I certainly am poor, but I am not stupid. She says, let us have a contest. Let us both set out with 50 gold coins each and see who comes back with more wealth. And the king says, that's a good idea. I'm sure my son will agree. So the prince is overconfident. He says, I'll go first. I'll return with 500 gold coins so I don't have to marry you. And then the girl says, I wish you good luck, your highness. The prince left the very next day. 2 days later, he reached a place called Chandangad. And then so he says, can I have something to eat? He's talking to the local villagers. Now they're planning to rob him. He looks rich, one of them whispers to another. Yeah, let's be nice to him. Another one says. So the prince was treated to a sumptuous meal. Afterwards, you have been very kind. Thank you very much and goodbye. And then what happens? He goes, hey, wait, don't let him go. One of our golden wine cups is missing. The prince is confused. I bet you they didn't even have a golden wine cup. He goes, search him. Hey, you can't do that. I'm innocent. But look, they find the golden wine cup on him. It's either they planted it on him or they just kind of pulled it out as a trick. So they're trying to cheat him. Here's the proof of your innocence, you rascal, one of the villagers says there. You ungrateful man, we gave you food and you rob us. The third one says, beat him. So this prince is very innocent. He doesn't know anything about the world. He goes, look, I will give you these 50 gold coins, but please let me go. And they're like, all right, hand over the coins. So he lost everything he came with. And then he goes, now, Get out and don't ever come back. Yes, we hate dishonest people. The prince is thinking, I don't understand how the wine cup got into the bundle. And now they're laughing at him as he's leaving. Ha ha ha, what a simpleton. It never crossed his mind that we might have slipped the cup into his bundle ourselves. Ho 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 ho. So, the prince walked away from the town and finally stopped to rest under a tree. And so someone else comes along. You look very sad, stranger. What is the matter? The prince says, I was robbed. The stranger says, robbed? But this stranger was actually a spy sent by the gardener's daughter. And so she says, so the prince has lost his money already, and to think he called me stupid. She says to him, you may go now. A few days later, a rich merchant arrived in Chandangad. Same place. Those are the same villagers you see there who cheated the prince. And so now they're talking again. Look, there's a stranger coming. Oh, he looks rich, says the other one. The third one says, let us invite him to lunch. So they try to pull the same trick. You look tired and weary, stranger. Why don't you come in and refresh yourself? The stranger says, thank you. You are very kind. The thugs gave the traveler food, and while he was eating, one of the thugs slipped the golden cup into his box. Very soon, this guy's thinking, very soon, all his wealth will be ours. So then, this merchant, this stranger says, thank you for the lunch, friends. Now, let's have some sweets. And they say, sweets, I love sweets. The thugs greedily ate the sweets. And then they fell into a swoon. They all fainted. The merchant is thinking, the drug in the sweets has put them to sleep. Now for the second part of my plan. Sometime later, when the thugs recovered, hey, the traveler, he's gone. We must catch him. Hey, so they're waking up, they leave their house. Hey, there he is. He's coming with the village headman. Oh, what's happening there? So, nice to see you, Mukiaji. This man has stolen a gold wine cup and says the leader of the village. He says you have robbed him of his money. He's lying, says the villager. We shall see. I will search your belongings as well as his. The guilty party hands over all their possessions to the innocent party. That's the law in these parts. The villagers say, we know the law. Do they now? So the Mukia searched the traveler's box. Nothing here. Now I'll search your trunk. Here's the wine cup and the money. And one villager says, how did that wine cup get in there? I put it in the traveler's box. And the other one says, shut up, you fool. I'll take these men to prison, says the Mukia, the leader of the village. Everything in this house is now yours. That's the law, he says to that young merchant. The traveler set up a poorhouse in the village to help people who don't have anything else. It's kind of like what we would call today a homeless shelter. One day, the prince went there to beg for some food. He lost all of his money, and he can't go back to his father now and admit he lost everything. So, what a pitiable state I am in. But if I return to the palace in this state, I will lose the contest. So he goes there and he goes, please give me something to eat. And then this merchant says, oh, I knew you would come in. And then the prince says, what do you mean you knew? And the merchant says, never mind, please help yourself. The merchant asks him, what work do you do? And the prince says, nothing, sir. I wish someone would give me work. And so never mind. The merchant says, you can work here as my servant. And the prince says, me, a servant. The merchant says, here, wear these new clothes and slippers and give me your rags. And here's money for you. Go out and enjoy yourself today. What is this merchant? Do you know? The prince put on the old clothes and slippers and hurried away. The merchant says, you may start work from tomorrow. The prince served the merchant for a whole month, and then merchant says, it's time I moved to another village, so take this as a gift. Prince says, what does it contain? And then the merchant says, 500 gold coins. Oh my. And then the merchant says, be very careful. There are thugs around. And then the merchant advises the prince, go back to your own country now, but do not open that box until you reach home. The prince says, I won't. Well, he's walking home. I've got my 500 gold coins. I wonder how that stupid girl who challenged me has fared. Let's see. A month later. You are back, says the king. Yes, father, I've come back a winner. And then the gardener's daughter, the girl, says, have you brought more money than what you set out with? And then he goes, yes, I have. Ha ha ha. She says to him, let's see what you have brought. And then he says, all right then, hold your breath. Look what I've got. Thud. What is all that? Everyone's laughing at him in the court. So that's what you brought? Old clothes and slippers? Think about it. This prince was not even bright enough to look in the box and double check. He just took the merchant's word that he was giving him 500 gold coins. So then he takes a closer look at the girl. Now I see it all. The merchant was none other than this girl, and I served her for a whole month. And then the king says, son, you've lost. And he goes, I know, father, I'll marry her. And he says, he's thinking, strangely, I do want to marry her. She is as clever as she is beautiful. The prince who didn't want to marry had at last found a bride. He's the lucky one, everyone. He is the lucky one. She is way out of his league. So I told you I was going to show you. Let's just take a look at this book. It is so old. Okay, this is how they used to bind them in the old days. There wasn't a nice thing. So the spine has come off, and it's just a whole bunch of little baby books put together. And a cover is gone as well. But I know it's a Tinkle because they have all kinds of different stories in here. Tons of different stories. And from all over the place. Some are religious and some are folk tales. So what we're going to do next time is we're going to read more stories just like this. Why don't you join us again next time on Indian Story Read Along? And also subscribe and click the bell icon so that you'll know next time we upload another story. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye.